Bang, bang, Niner gang. Welcome back, faithful. This is the Can't Lose Show hosted by myself, Trent, and we got a special guest today. You guys know him, you guys love him, you've seen his face, and welcome back, Josh. What it
Yes,
be like, brother?
sir. I'm back, man. I feel good to be back. It's been a long time coming, but I'm ready to get into it, man. I'm glad to come back after a Niners W.
Hell yeah. Guys, Josh has been itching to get back on the pod. I know things haven't lined up the best for him to be on every episode, and glad to get you back on. I know it took, what, 4 weeks, but you're
Mm,
here, so let's enjoy it.
let's get into it.
You guys know we like to kick off the show with a little bit of a ranking list before we get into anything too crazy from last week and looking into next week. So this week we got something special for you. We're gonna do top five MVP voting right now, how it stands, how we think it's gonna play out. Josh, if you want to give me your list from five to one, and then we'll see how close of a list we have to each other.
This is rough, especially to put it in order. Like, you want me to go in order?
I would like you to go in order, but if you can't
Hmm.
decide, you could be like 1A, 2 or 1A, 1B type deal, but
Fair, fair,
try to put it
fair.
in order from 5 to 1.
Okay. Okay. Let me get this. Let me get this going. I got at five, I'll say CJ Stroud right now. Five.
Okay.
CJ Stroud, five. I think he's been balling. His team is also pretty good. And I mean, they're not, what are they, 2-2?
Yep.
Three, oh, they're 3-1. They're 3-1. So they're balling. CJ Stroud doing his thing as always. I mean, Nico Collins has more than 100 yards receiving than everyone else. Their connection has been insane this season. So I'll give him the five spot.
Okay.
Number four, I'm gonna have to go. Mm, this is hard for me. I'm gonna try and be realistic and non-biased. So at four, I'm gonna go Baker Mayfield. He's been balling, and then right there at three, I think him and Brock Purdy are kind of right there together right now. Brock Purdy might
Okay.
be, two as well with Sam Darnold. I think Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield, and Brock Purdy are all interchangeable, kind of in that 2, 3, 4 spot. They're all balling right now. Sam Darnold has like 11 touchdowns. I think Baker Mayfield has eight. And then we know Purdy, I mean, leading or second in passing yards, leading the league in yards per attempt. I mean, we know what he
Whoa, let's
does.
let's save the Brock Purdy stuff for a little bit later in the show. We know we got
My
something
fault.
special for him.
My bad, my bad. And then at number one, I mean, kind of picking up where he left off last season when he started picking up late in the season. Josh Allen, I mean, he's been
Yeah.
balling, doing it on the ground, in the air, doing what he does. I mean, it's fun to watch. And I mean, their team, they're not star-studded with receivers. They lost Gabe Davis, they lost Stephon Diggs, but he's making it work, and they look better than they have. I think better than
Yeah.
last year.
I would have to agree there. I mean, I think I've said it on this pod. If not, it was on Jace's pod. But um, I think Josh Allen without his weapons is a better Josh Allen form, and that's no diss on either of those weapons that left in free agency this year or in the offseason. It's just Josh Allen needed them at one point in his career, and now that he's been able to take those chances and shown the league that he could make those throws, now he can make those throws to quote unquote nobodies. Obviously, they're not nobodies. They're in the NFL. Let's be real. Um,
Yeah,
but he's now the superstar, and I think that's benefited him tremendously.
yeah, for sure. I mean, he's doing better without him. Now he's not forcing it to guys, probably feeling like he has to get certain guys targets and stuff, but now he's
Yeah.
just distributing.
Yep. Um, for my list at number five, or let's start out outside of number five. Honorable mention, Baker Mayfield. I wanted to put him in my top five, and I had him in my top five, and then I realized I forgot someone major into this list. So
Mm,
it slipped, but he's honorable mention at six. Number five, I have Lamar Jackson. I think Lamar
tough.
Jackson heating up. Obviously, they had a slow start, but the things he's able to do with Derrick Henry in his backfield now, it's going to make their team pretty much unstoppable in a sense that if they're clicking, I don't know who could stand in their way in the AFC. So it's going to be fun to watch as the season plays out. So Lamar Jackson at 5, number
I like.
4.
Go
Well,
ahead.
go ahead.
I was gonna say I like that because I mean Lamar Jackson. I'm sure I texted you after that first game against the Chiefs during the game. I was texting everyone like, dude, the way this guy is running, the way he is playing, like he is coming for everything this season. Like he looked
Yeah,
like the chip on his shoulder. So I could see that too. I could see him heating up. Like obviously he hasn't had the stats the first few games. They lost a couple games they should have won, but
but definitely
he,
flashes in there to be in this list, I would
yeah,
say.
as
Number
always.
4, I have Patrick Mahomes. He didn't make your list, and honestly, the reason why he made my list is because it's Patrick Mahomes, a generational quarterback. He will find his groove. He's done, I mean, his team's 4-0. I'm not going to discredit him. You got to be doing at least something right to be 4-0. It's a sloppy
Yeah,
4-0, but it's 4-0 in the NFL. It's hard to win.
yeah, for sure.
Um, yeah. Go
I
ahead.
would have, since you had an honorable mention, I would have put him in my honorable mention as well.
Okay. Fair.
Yeah.
Fair. Um, Number 3, I have Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold, like you said, he's had a hot start to the year. Um, there's really, if he's not in your top 5 at this point, it's because of the name of Sam Darnold. It's not because
Yeah.
of how his plays. It's not the stats that are messing up your eyes on this list. It's purely because it's like, oh, Sam Darnold, he got released by the Jets or traded from the Jets and then came to the 49ers and a couple other I maybe another stop in between, if I'm not wrong. And now on Minnesota. And I hate when people like discredit someone for being traded and then coming onto a team or being picked number 262. It's like, no, whatever they're putting out on tape and in the stat book, that's how we should be judging them. Like at the end of the day, his team's balling. Like, I don't know how else to put it. He needs to be in your top 5 list, and I have him in my top 3. So that's
That
number 3 right there.
that 11 touchdowns just jumps out at me. That's a
Mhm.
lot of touchdowns already in 4 games, 11 touchdowns. Yeah. That
Yeah.
he's got to be in that conversation right now.
Yep. And number 2, bang bang, Niner gang, Brock Purdy. No bias there. And I don't even want to get into why he's number 2. So I'm just gonna leave you guys with the fact that I have him at number 2. And later in the episode, like I stopped Josh from going on a little too much,
I
we
know.
got a
I
little
know.
surprise for him in this episode. So we're gonna get to that in a little bit. At number 1, and this is the one I forgot, so I had to mess up my list completely. I don't know how I forgot him. Josh Allen is
You
my
had
number 1 quarterback or number 1 MVP in the NFL right now.
you had Purdy at number one
I didn't have Purdy at
originally.
number 1. I just had my list. And when I told you that we were going to do it in order, then I was like, oh shit. Like I forgot him. So yeah,
Yeah.
Josh Allen's number 1. Obviously not coming off the best game. Like I wish it was a better game for him. And I'll get into that in literally the next segment because that was my dog of the week last week. But he is number 1 right now in MVP voting. I hope you enjoyed my list, guys. I hope you enjoyed my list, Josh, as well.
I
And
did.
if you guys see me look up at the screen, look up, it's because Josh is above on this camera, so I'm looking at him while we're doing this. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed those lists. Let's just dive right back into week 4 picks. Josh, you weren't along with us last week, so I know you don't have picks, but you could just judge mine if you would like.
All right.
Josh Allen was my dog of the week. I cannot stamp this approval on my dog of the week. This is actually my first time the dog has not hit this season. So a little bummer, but
Dang.
it is what it is. He went 16 for 29, 180 yards, no TDs. Which that's kind of why he didn't get dog approved. He didn't clutch up in big time situations this past game when they needed it most. And sometimes it wasn't his fault, but when you're having that dog performance, you elevate the guys around you to make those big plays. And it just didn't happen this week. And yeah, that's kind of my take on that.
Yeah, I mean, when you only put up 10, I know it's a big game too. Like, fortunately, it's not going to get you a dog of the week.
Yeah. And that, I mean, that kind of leads me into the game, my game of the week. But before that, I like to touch on my matchup. My matchup was ass again. I have not picked a good matchup this year at all.
Why did you
Um,
pick that anyway?
because it was like an interesting kind of thing, like two shitty quarterbacks going up against each other, who was going to play better, and it just turned out to be shitty quarterbacks. I don't know what I was thinking. Um, but my game of the week, Buffalo versus Baltimore. Obviously I said what Josh Allen and the Bills didn't do, but let's highlight Baltimore in this game. A wagon. Derrick Henry, 2 games in a row, made every single defensive player look like they were little kids in Pop Warner, just bullying them any which way he wanted. Any with a stiff arm, with lowering his shoulder. Dude runs so high. I don't know how he runs that high and has that much power, but it's Derrick Henry. And with him rolling, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know who could stop this Baltimore team from the AFC right now. Because I thought it was the Bills
Um,
going into this week.
I mean, yeah, it's going to be tough. It's always going to be the Bills, the Chiefs, and the Ravens, those top three. And the Steelers look good until they lost to the Colts. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
it's so early. Anything could happen. I really don't know either, man. The Texans are looking good too. You just don't know. The Ravens, when they're rolling and that defense is playing that, and I mean, especially then you add Derrick Henry to that squad.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're dangerous.
Yeah. Well, you guys know we love to talk our 49ers. Well represented on this podcast today. No more Packers fans looking over my shoulder at Jace if he was here. F the Packers. It's bang bang, Niner gang. We snapped our 2 game skid, and let's just talk about that game for a second because there was a lot of highlights, a couple downs, but let's talk good about them right now since we're riding high off a W. What you got?
I mean, the defense really is the biggest highlight for me, the way they played. I mean, Fred Warner with the pick six, Bosa with the strip sack. I think we had what, 6 sacks
Yeah,
on the day. I
sounds about
mean,
right.
our corners are playing well. I want them to get in there, get more involved, get some more pass breakups, some interceptions, but the defense as a whole looked pretty good. And oh, we had three turnovers, huh?
Yeah.
Because we had the other forced fumble from the D tackle. I forget his name. He was like
Uh,
first time playing, right?
yeah, I came off the practice squad, got elevated.
Yeah. And so that's what really stood out to me was that we have a lot of guys banged up on the defense too, and they look good. They played well. I think our safeties and our linebackers, minus Fred Warner, of course,
Yeah.
they need to step it up because those D linemen, they're debuting out here. I know Malik Mustafa first start, but these D tackles too, they're coming out and they balled out. They did their thing. So I think the safeties and the linebackers need to step up because everywhere else is sound. I mean,
Yeah.
solid.
And I think with Hufunga, I know he didn't play this game and he's coming back off his surgery for his ACL from last year and then he messed up his ankle in practice. So I think with him coming back after he heals up from this ankle injury will be a huge help to our safeties, of course. Um, but yeah, I think you hit it right on the head that our defense looks solid. Obviously, our secondary needs to tighten up just a bit. But I just want to give a shout out to Miss Warner because on the Warner House, speaking it into existence about a pick six when he was saying that he was going to get the trifecta, and she's like, pick six. He was like, whoa. And I'm glad she said it because it happened. It was fantastic. I know shortly after that, we lost Fred Warner for the rest of the game, and I believe he'll be fine. He says he plans to play this week, so I'm not going to hit the panic mode there. But man, he's putting up a case for defensive player of the year. And
Yeah.
I know it's very hard for a linebacker to get it, but uh, the dude's the only player to have 10 forced fumbles, 10 interceptions, and what was the other 10th thing? I
10
literally have it,
sacks.
10 sacks. And he's just a monster. And that's my biggest shout out from this week. And Brock Purdy balling, like it's
Yeah,
not going to show on the stat board, but throwing 3 touchdown passes in one drive is kind of insane. Like, when was the last time a quarterback's done that? I know
yeah,
penalties
seriously.
obviously help that because like it's impossible, but he literally did it. So, um,
Since, we have to be realistic though. We have to be honest. The one thing I think it's even in the first game when I thought we looked good against the Jets and like our defense was dominating, the Niners need to get in the end zone, man. Like they've
yeah,
been
we can't
getting
keep
down
settling for
there.
these field goals.
No, especially not against like this gauntlet that we're about to go through. Like
Yeah,
we need to start getting in the end zone, finishing drives. That's I think been really bad for the Niners this season is getting into the end zone for whatever reason. Because I mean, Jordan Mason, he runs hard, he runs downhill. You'd think we'd still be excelling down there in the red zone, but we just haven't been. So they got to get
yeah,
that figured out.
I agree with you there. And then talking about the gauntlet of the schedule, if we're highlighting our defense, right? We're just talking very highly about them, except for a little honest on our secondary. It's something that we need to get in our groove with our new defensive coordinator. I know we've literally gone what 4 or 5 seasons with a new defensive coordinator because all of them end up going to get a head coaching job. Or I know Steve Wilkes we cut ties with. It's just they gotta feel comfortable calling what they need to call and the players following up with it. And I think during this gauntlet, it will show. We're 4 weeks in, we're going into week 5, so hopefully that starts clicking. But that takes me right into this next point. Let's just jump into the Cardinals week. Um, it's a division game, it's at home. This game, I know people are saying like we just said we have a gauntlet, and people are saying this is probably like the easier game of the gauntlet, but the Cardinals are no joke anymore.
Yeah, they look
They're
good this
piecing it
season.
together. They're electric.
Oh, they're
Um,
1-3. Oh,
they're
I
one
had
and three, but they're electric. Like you see all these highlight videos coming out of Kyler Murray to Marvin Harrison Jr., and it's like you don't think that team's 1 and 3, honestly. They're
yeah,
better than what their record shows.
yeah. I didn't think they were 1-3.
Um, how do we get this game to roll in our favor? I know we're literally the highest spread this week in the NFL. I think we're 7.5 favorites on this week. So obviously everyone's on our side, but like, how do we get this done, Josh?
That's crazy. We're 7-point favorites right now. Um, I mean, really, I think, like I said, we need to get in the end zone. We need to start capping off these drives, and like we know they're no joke. So they got those receivers. They got Marvin Harrison Jr. They got Dortch. They still have
Their tight end.
Moore, tight end, McBride. They got some
Yeah.
guys that can catch the ball. So I think our corners need to really hold it down, figure it out, because our safeties have been struggling. So our corners are going to have to get some picks. I think they're going to have to get their hands on the ball this game. We're going to need turnovers because I think when we face like a really good receiver like Marvin Harrison Jr. and the receivers that they have, sometimes these guys can get going against our defense. They find the little soft spots in the zone, and I think our corners are going to have to be tough and aggressive, and they're going to have to get their hands on the ball this week. I think one of them is getting their first pick this season.
Okay. I see that. And I like when we line up in man. I know
Mm,
sometimes obviously that comes to hurt us with superstar receivers, but with a rookie, I'm taking Mooney all day on a rookie. And
Lenore too.
yeah, yeah, Lenore's been balling. So, like you said, one of those guys is going to get their first pick on the season in man coverage. That's kind of what I'm putting out there.
Mm,
Um, I think offensively, I kind of want to see Debo have himself a game. He put in the work this offseason, and he hasn't had a Debo type of game. Obviously,
mm.
he's missed two out of the four. So I would really like to see him really pick it up. And then I know you want to see IU start getting it going,
I've said it
but
every week. I've said it
I
every week.
keep
This is
saying
going
it
to be the
because this
game.
guy just I'm mad with Ayuk right now. I know for you guys listening, last week's pod, I kind of went on a little rant about Ayuk, and honestly, I don't even take those words back yet. Maybe he'll make me eat him this week, but he needs to get going.
What were the words? I want to hear. I didn't watch last week.
Damn. Um, I basically just called him out for his shit, dropping the ball. His routes aren't looking as crisp. He's not finding that separation. Like he's not being able to create that separation. Obviously, guys are playing him a little bit differently, but you're
He's
getting paid
not.
$30 million.
Yeah, but
$30
you
million
see
dollars of
it.
separation, please, and
It's
hands.
not. It's not that he's just not able to get open. It's like you see it on some of the routes. He's not like getting out of his brakes like full speed, like
Yeah.
running out of his brakes.
It was I was just frustrated. It's a $30 million man, have $30 million hands, and let's get it rolling. And he hasn't been, so some choice of words when you get a chance, go back, listen, and
I will.
I
I definitely will tune in.
yeah.
I got faith in my boy though. This is the week. I said it last week that it was going to be the $30 million game. This week is going to be the $30 million game.
I'm riding with that. I'm riding with that for sure. Um this game's gonna be exciting. Obviously, like I said, divisional game. You got anything else from this game that you wanted to say before we move on to probably gonna be my favorite segment of the day?
Mm, no, no, I
All
don't.
right. Well, without waiting any longer, guys, Brock Purdy hype train segment. This is going to be all about the love for our glorious king, Brock Purdy. Number 13 out of San Francisco. He's in the backfield. He's dropping dimes on your guys' defense for all of you guys that aren't 49er fans. And he's beating you guys in the playoffs, and you guys could suck it. So, Brock Purdy, let's talk about him. Josh, give me one thing that makes Brock Purdy a top five, top three, top two quarterback in the league nowadays.
I'm gonna
And
have to
I'll
go
go one thing at a time.
one thing at a time. Okay. I'm gonna have to go. I think the one thing that I want to say the most is just the one thing that seems like to be the determining factor for everyone. Purdy scrambles and he makes plays outside of the system and extends plays, keeps his eyes downfield when he gets out of the pocket. And he could either get the first down with his legs or he's going to make a pass downfield. And he can just make plays in so many, you
Wait,
know,
so you're telling me Kyle Shanahan, that's not part of his system? Him using his legs, scrambling, extending the play, and then finding someone downfield or running for it? It's not part of the system?
no, I know it's hard to believe. It's really hard to believe that Shanahan, the genius himself, didn't draw that up. But
Oh,
no, he didn't. He didn't draw that up for Purdy to see the guy coming like he has eyes in the back of his head, duck, spin, scramble, throw a touchdown. I mean, it's crazy to think that Shanahan didn't draw that up, but he didn't, man.
bro,
That's
that's
Purdy.
news to me.
I know.
Oh.
It's wild. So
All
yeah,
right.
that's one of the things that I think makes him a top five QB is his ability to scramble and extend the play.
Okay. Um, one of mine is the fact that this guy is leading almost every single quarterback stat there is. And if he's not leading it, he's in the top five of them.
Yeah, top three.
Yeah, top three. And every meaningful QB statistic. We say he's a check down merchant. No, 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 no. He's, I think after this week, second in the league. He might be still number one, but I believe he's second in the league in pass yards per attempt. Meaning, guys, for you guys that aren't like too into football statistics, that means when the ball releases out of his hand, it's traveling further downfield before it gets in the receiver's hand.
Oh, he's still
Meaning, those
first.
he's still first. Exactly,
Hmm.
proving my point even better. That means those receiving yards aren't from Yak Bros. We have them. Don't worry, we do. I mean, this year it seems like we don't, but it's because we're throwing the ball further downfield, and that's how they're getting majority of the yards this year. So that's one thing for me.
Yeah, he's still leading 9.3. The next guy, Sam Darnold, at 8.8.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
yeah,
Go ahead with your next one.
my next one is gonna be he also has the most air yards on the season. So not he's second in passing yards, but the
Hmm.
ball actually in the air. Like you said, just kind of piggybacking off the whole they think he's a check down merchant. He has the most passing yards in the air. He's thrown the ball the furthest, is what that means. Like he
Yeah,
doesn't, what he does is not just check down all the time. He's making plays downfield. And I mean, he can do it all, though. I mean, you can get into that. That's another point that we have for why he's one of the best.
yeah. Let's compare him to the best, quote unquote. Patrick Mahomes. So let's go back to the start of last season. Obviously, okay, I will say it right away. Does Patrick Mahomes have the most important victory over him? Yes, he does. Okay.
Mhm.
Chiefs fans, NFL fans, that's it. Okay. Because Brock Purdy and Patrick Mahomes are both 14 and 6. Okay. Like I said, Patrick Mahomes has the key victory.
Me
But let's
personally,
move on to the next thing.
I'm not even saying that he's better than Mahomes. Like
Yeah,
Mahomes,
I'm not saying it either. I'm just comparing him to what everyone says is the best quarterback in the league because I think Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league. And
mhm,
I'll put it out there, obviously.
yeah,
He's done it and he's proven it.
mhm.
But passing yards. Patrick Mahomes has 5,087 yards. Purdy has 5,410, so almost 300 more yards. TD to interception ratio. Patrick Mahomes has had 33 touchdown passes to 19 interceptions. Brock Purdy has had 36 touchdown passes to only 13 interceptions. Passing rating. Patrick Mahomes is at 92.1 and Brock Purdy's at 111.3. So that's 20 more points on his passing rating. And then yards per attempt. Patrick Mahomes only throws the ball on average 7.1 yards down the field, while Brock Purdy is maintaining a 9.6 average yards per downfield. So comparing Patrick Mahomes, who is the best quarterback in the league, to Brock Purdy, hey, we could put Brock Purdy right behind him because once Brock Purdy wins that big game, maybe a couple times, then I'll put him in front of Mahomes. So Brock Purdy is a top five quarterback in the league. Josh, go ahead and give us another one.
I think another one is I kind of mentioned it is that he can make the checkdowns. He can make the deep throw. He can make the throw over the middle. He can hit the guy on a deep out, on a deep comeback, all the way across the field. He can do it all. He can throw to any level. He can make any play that he can just do anything that you ask of him. He just is a really good freaking quarterback. He can make any throw that you think he can't, and he'll go and make it and make it look pretty, make it look cool, maybe break a tackle and run around for a little bit. Like he can just do it all. And I mean, what else can you ask of a quarterback than to make every throw and throw to
Yeah,
the open guy?
I I still don't know how people are giving our quarterback Brock Purdy shit for how he's playing. And honestly, I hope this little 5 to 10 minutes of just talking Brock Purdy stats and his play has helped change your mind just a little bit. Because I'm over this slander on him. And he's just going to keep proving everyone wrong. Pick number 262 turns into one of the best quarterbacks to ever touch the green grass of football. I I'm putting it out there like there's no stopping him right now and he's not going to slow down. So, yeah, that's our Brock Purdy segment. And um
Does it have to be over?
I does it. I mean, it doesn't have to be, but we can't have this episode be too long. So
Oh
let's
man.
get a look ahead into week 5 of the NFL, the greatest league on planet Earth.
Well, I don't know. The greatest league, there's this little thing called the LBA, the Little Basketball Association. I don't know if you've seen it. Kai Cenat's basketball league. Have you
Oh,
seen that? I
oh, that
think
shit is funny.
hey, it's uh it's on the up and up right now, man. It's rising fast. So just look out for that, bro.
While you're looking out for that, look out for our pick'ems, guys. Play that every week. Dirty plug,
Mm,
dirty plug.
mm.
Um, $10 a pop. Send it through Venmo. Send your picks and your chance to win. We got a
Bro,
newcomer last week winning that. Brad, he won that, so he took home 110 bucks. And hey, it's worth it. Let's
I
look
let him
ahead.
I let him
What?
win last week so that, I'd get more people to join, get a bigger pot for this week, and then I'm gonna win now. So
Hell
yeah, you
yeah.
guys all join and donate to my winnings.
Hell yeah. I hope we have a bigger pot. I know he brought a couple of his homies and that already DM me. So we'll just keep letting that pot grow. But let's look ahead to next week in the NFL because it's gonna be a good week of football, like every week is. Um, let's start it off with something hot. My Siri is yelling at me. Sorry guys. I don't know how that happened. Um, all right. My bad, my bad. We back. Let's look ahead to week 5 of the NFL and starting off with something hot. Our dog of the week. Who do you have?
My dog of the week this week is gonna be the man that I passed up on in all of my fantasy leagues because of your dear friend, our dear friend, Jace of the Up Your Score podcast. So my dog this week is going to be Jaden Reed of the Green Bay Packers. I was in my fantasy league and all my drafts, and I was asking Jace which receiver to get from the Packers. He said Dubes. Then he said Watson. He never mentioned Jaden Reed. So, and come to it now, he's the number 4 receiver in fantasy football right now. It's been nothing but a dog. And I don't think these Rams DBs are going to be able to hold him. Jordan Love's back. It's going to be, last game, whatever happened, happened. But now he's really back and he's going to be comfortable. And I just don't think these Rams DBs are going to be able to hold him. I think he's going to have another big game, probably maybe double digit receptions or, 8 receptions, 140 yards, touchdown or two. Like, it's going to be a big game for him, I think.
Okay. Okay. I like that. It sucks that our own let us down in a sense that he never once brought up his name. And
And
it's like,
Dubes.
bro, you keep up with that team. Come on now. Like,
It's okay though.
co-
He thinks Jordan Love is better than Brock Purdy. So
does Jace from Up Your Score podcast not know ball? Nah, guys. I want to put that out there. His show is actually really good. Listen, go take a listen right now. Well, not right now. Finish our episode first, and
yeah,
then
then go check it out.
yeah. Um. All right. Well, my dog of this week, and it's like this week was kind of a hard pick because you usually want your dog from a winning squad. And I don't think his team's gonna win this game. So it's kind of like I said earlier, your team's gotta win, but for this one time, maybe he just balls out and maybe it's an upset. But I got CJ Stroud this week. He's going up against Buffalo, and I have Buffalo on my winning for Pick'em. But I think CJ Stroud, when the lights are the brightest, this guy knows how to ball.
Mm.
So I'm gonna call it out right now. I think this game's gonna be a shootout. I think it's going to be a high scoring affair, almost like that Rams Chiefs game a couple years back. Now it's more than a couple. I know we're way out of there, but um, you remember them trading blows? I think it was Thursday night football or something like that.
The Rams
And
Chiefs game, that game was insane.
that game was insane. And that's kind of how I see this game because Houston's defense hasn't been what I thought it was going to be. Buffalo's defense is good, but like I said, CJ Stroud, when the lights are the brightest, he knows how to ball. So CJ Stroud is going to be my dog for this week. All right, guys. So that leads us into our matchups of the week. Guys, I have absolutely been garbage on these matchup picks. But one thing I know I could trust is Josh picking these matchups. He's always picked good matchups. Last year, he would even give me matchups to say because he knows I would just end up picking dog shit matchups. So, Josh, let's hear yours first.
I mean, I feel like this matchup is kind of a gimme. It's Jets versus Sauce. I mean, Justin Jefferson versus Sauce Gardner. How could this not be your matchup?
Mm-hmm.
I know everyone's going to be looking at this one. This is, I mean, two of the prime positions on each side of the ball going at it. Two of the top guys, like at their position, going at it. If not the top, some people would argue for both of them.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a really fun matchup to watch. And to be honest, I almost picked Justin Jefferson as my dog of the week. I think he's going to have a big statement. He's going to, I don't think Sauce follows.
I
I
don't
think
believe so.
so. I mean, obviously, we're not going to see him every play of the game, but I think when that chance does come, I think Justin Jefferson is going to get his, and I think he's going to have a big game. I just didn't want to pick him as my dog because I really wanted to pick that matchup too. I didn't want to do from the same game, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But I think Justin Jefferson wins this matchup and he has a big game himself.
Okay. I like that.
Mm,
That's a good matchup. Um, See, I probably would have overlooked that and not picked it because this one jumped out to me right away and without even looking at yours on our notes. I have Stephon Diggs versus his old former team secondary. I don't know who's going to line up on him. I don't know if they have guys that travel with their quote
mm,
unquote ones, but we'll go
that's
Diggs
a good
versus
one.
Bill secondary.
That's a good one too. I like
I
that.
think I'll finally snap my streak of terrible matchups. Because this has the writing on the wall to be a popcorn movie style game for Diggs. Is he going to do enough to get that separation and beat his former team? Will his former team walk away with a W and hold him to not enough? I don't know. Like I said, I have Buffalo on my picks, but I think Diggs still produces. I don't think they
Mm,
hold him to zero because I think it's going to be a shootout and he'll be a big part of that.
yeah, I think that's going to be a good game. I also picked the Bills on that one, but I could see that game going either way. I mean,
Okay. Let's
that
jump into
leads
our game of the week.
that leads us right into it. That's my game of the week right there. Bills Texans. I mean, like you said, it's going to be explosive. It's going to be a shootout. It's going to be two good offenses going at it. I'm excited to see it. I hope Tank Dell's back because he's
Hmm.
just another explosive player to add to that, and he's fun to watch. So I'm excited for that game. I think it's not going to be much defense, a lot of fun offense to watch.
Okay. My game of the week, it's gonna be a thriller. Miami Dolphins versus New England Patriots. Just kidding. It's gonna be
Oh
ass, just
my,
like this on your screen right now.
oh, bro, I'm like,
Um,
come
I would not pick
on.
that game as my game of the week. That game is gonna be so bad. It's gonna be
Oh,
the shit bowl. Literally, think about Friday Night Lights and when they put a toilet on the Lions field when they were the worst team playing against another worst team. If people could break into that stadium, they'd probably put toilets there because this is going to be the shit bowl
hmm.
because of Miami Dolphins situation right now. Could they be electrifying this game? Hopefully, hopefully Mike McDaniel knows how to get Tyreek Hill the ball and Jalen Waddle and Devon Achane and Raheem Mostert. Hopefully, but as it draws up right now, it's a shit bowl. But my
Yeah,
real game of the week is Baltimore Ravens versus the Cincinnati Bengals
that's a really
because
good one too.
divisional game
Yep.
and I don't think Joe Burrow in Cincinnati is done for the season. Do I see them making the playoffs after the slow start? It's going to be a huge mountain to climb, and I don't see it happening. But they can knock teams down while they're trying to get up there.
It's just so
And
tough in that division, man. Like,
yeah, so
yeah.
tough. You can't have a slow start in that division.
Hmm.
Um, but like I was saying earlier in the episode, if Baltimore's clicking, I don't know who could stop them. And Cincinnati's not a team that if they are clicking, can stop them. I know it's a divisional game. Obviously, that makes a huge factor. But yeah, I just see Baltimore going into Cincinnati and handling business. Should we get into our final segment of the night
Let's do
or
it. Let's
morning,
get into
whatever
it.
time you guys are listening? So I left Josh a little bit of a blank spot. If there's anything you want to talk about before we get into pick 'em, I know you haven't been on the show this year, What do you got for us?
I mean, I really the one thing that I didn't write it down, but we could talk about is USC. I mean, and Notre Dame. I don't know how much you've brought up Notre Dame. I just want to hear what do you think about Notre Dame right now, how their season is looking. What's your expectations, your hopes? What do you think about them?
Man, I really wish you would have listened to last week's episode. No worries though. No love lost there. Um, Jace had asked me, "What do you think about this Notre Dame Louisville game?" And I said, "Well," and then he cut me off and said, "Notre Dame is favorited." And we were number 16 or number 17, they were number 16. And I said, "There's no way in hell we should be favored in any game moving forward this season. We are absolutely ass and literally let's move on to next season for Notre Dame." But they made me eat my words and they handled Louisville this past week. And hey, maybe we turn the page and maybe we're back to being Notre Dame football. But honestly, before last week, like I said, I was ready to can the season and I was thinking Marcus Freeman's on an extreme hot seat. Even though he recruits very well, he's not lived up to the hype in my eyes. But I know like I said, we turned it around, and we'll still handle business come down the stretch of the season, and we'll whoop USC's ass. What do you
I'm
think
just
about USC though?
I'm just curious, why were you so like, I mean, why were you so ready to can throw in the can already before the Louisville game? They were like 3-1 or something. 2-1, 3-1.
3-1, but you lose to a team that's unranked.
Yeah,
Obviously, I know they had some of their key guys there for their 4 years there, a lot of seniors, but
it's a
you
trap
can't
game
you
though.
can't pay a team 1.5 million to come into your stadium and lose. And then the next
Fair.
week you have Miami of Ohio come in, and even though the score looks like what it does, it's it wasn't like that, Josh. We know
No,
when the
no.
scoreboard's deceiving. They were beating us at the end of quarter number one. We were up 3 points at halftime, 6-3 or something like that. And then the second half, we come in and we blow them out of the water. But you're
Mm,
telling me a team that's the Notre Dame University and we have Miami of Ohio, whatever team that it was, 6-3 going into halftime? Come on now.
yeah,
I was just
good
very
point.
frustrated with the team
I
that I
mean,
was letting out steam.
I'll be frustrated too.
What about your USC? Because looking from obviously not a fan of USC, looking from the outside, obviously heartbreaker to lose the Michigan. But how do you what do you see your season as?
I have high hopes. I have much higher hopes than I've had. I mean, since that first season when we had Caleb Williams, probably because the defense. I mean, teams have been running on us a little bit. Obviously, we saw what Michigan did. We saw what Wisconsin was kind of doing too, but the defense looks a lot better than it has in years. I mean, they pitched a shutout. I don't know like when. It's been years on years on years on years since they pitched a shutout. Like
Yeah.
I know it was against Utah State, but that's just that's big time for them. They were in close games last season with teams like that because their defense is so bad. Like USC will be putting up 50 points and some random school would have like 48 points because the defense could just not play. But now they're looking good. I'm pretty excited for it. I mean, everyone sees our receivers. The receivers are doing their thing. Everyone's going off like each week. We have Zachariah Robinson, who's supposed to be one of the top players in the country, and like I still think like he's not even close to unlocking his full potential. He hasn't really done anything. He's a kicker, he's a return specialist right now, but
Yeah.
he's like has so much potential. He's so fast. So I'm excited for the season. I think that win against Wisconsin last week was big time, the way that they kind of figured it out, turned it around. Same thing that was happening with Michigan. They started figuring it out and turning it around and made it a game. I think they just need to put together 4 quarters of football. And I mean, they have a chance this week to really run over Minnesota and ride hot into that Penn State game because that's a big time game. I mean,
Is that at Penn State or at USC?
at USC. Sold out
Ooh,
already. It's been sold out.
damn, I was gonna say, well, I'm sure we could find some tickets, but
Yeah, but that
might
would
have
be,
to go to that.
I know. I'm seriously considering because that's going to be a big game. That's going to be sick. I think the atmosphere is going to be sick. I mean, it's sold out, right? So
Yeah,
yeah.
might have to find some more tickets.
I have high hopes for USC this year, and it's early though, so we'll see how it is after these next two games. But
Okay.
I'm excited.
Okay, let's talk college football as a whole real quick. One huge topic. What do you think about players stopping after 4 games, calling it a redshirt year, and hitting in the transfer portal?
Are we talking specifically about UNLV?
UNLV, but
Because
it opened it up to more than just that.
I think I haven't seen the other situations, but what I've seen from this UNLV situation, I'm all for it because I understand it's like NIL is ruining college football and stuff, but it's like they did that to themselves. There was no one told them they had to offer him the money that they offered him. You offered him, you promised him, you signed a contract, whatever it was, that you were going to pay him that money so that he would go there and play for that school. And if they're not going to uphold that, then I don't think he has any loyalty to that school. I don't, I'm all for what he did.
Okay. Let's
Because
talk
now,
about
like, it sucks that,
non-contractual though. Like let's throw not getting paid enough out of there and
Mhm,
them trying to save themselves a year and then going to make a bag somewhere else. Because I know the UNLV, I think I'm right there with you, and I think everyone else is too. Like there
mhm,
was no ties. But what about like guys that just stopped playing, just so they could chase another year and get another year of a bag? Obviously, you already know I'm never one to not support someone getting a bag. I
mhm.
just don't think this is the most ethical way of doing it
Well,
because
it's like, what's their justification behind them like redshirting? Were they playing? Like what was their were they losing? Like what was
exactly, there's
because
so
I
many
don't know.
different.
Yeah, I think it's all situational. Like, yeah, it sucks that this is happening now, but I think for a long time they were getting taken advantage of, and it's like it's still early, so they're still trying to figure it out. But I think regardless of how it looks right now and how it's kind of adding a whole nother layer into college football that people don't like with the business side. I think the players deserve it. They deserve to be getting paid like they're making everyone else money. Like
Yeah. And
I'm right there with the other side too, where it sucks though, and it kind of changes the game a little bit, and it's like too early for these guys, but
yeah.
I don't know.
And I guess it kind of translates to our NFL. Like when guys, I kind of like, I get it and I don't get it. Like when they have a contract and they don't finish out the contract, like they want to extend before it's done. It's like, well, you signed it, you kind of bet on yourself to get paid that way. But I like the aspect that the ties to the team and stuff, like a team could cut you at any given moment.
Mhm.
And it's kind of give and take. I don't know. I'm
Yeah,
mixed on this
I,
situation.
I see both sides for
Weird.
sure.
Yeah. Let's finish out our show though. Let's do the pick'em. Guys, the pick'em this week, we're not gonna give much detail on why we picked them. We're just gonna pick them for you guys. Just so you guys could know our picks and see how good and accurate we are and go from there. So game number one, and we're just gonna go down our pick'em sheet. Bucks versus Falcons. Who do you got?
I got the Bucks in this one.
I got the Bucks as well.
hmm
New York Jets, Minnesota.
This one's tough, but I don't know. I kind of want to go with Minnesota, staying on a roll. Like I said, I think Justin Jefferson has a big game. It kind of helps him get there. So I'm gonna go with Minnesota on this one.
I'm gonna go with the Jets on this one. Aaron Rodgers playing Minnesota all his
I know,
career.
I know.
That's the reason why I'm going with them.
Part of me wanted to do it for the same reason, but I'm have to roll with the Jet or the Minnesota Vikings.
Okay. Carolina, Chicago. Um, I hope Caleb Williams gets it going. Bears.
Yep, the Bears. I almost picked him as my dog of the week. I'm going
The
with the
Bears.
Bears.
Um, Baltimore, Cincinnati. I already said it earlier. I got Baltimore.
Yeah, I got Baltimore too. They looked good last week. I'm hoping to see another game like that first game against the Chiefs from Lamar, dude. He just looked different that game.
Yeah.
I want to see that
My
Lamar again.
Okay. Miami, New England. We already said this was the shit bowl toilet boy of the week. I got Miami in this one though.
This one's tough, but yeah, I'm going with Miami too. I have no faith in Miami anymore, but I don't know. I don't know. I gotta go with Miami, I guess.
Cleveland at Washington. Jalen Daniels. I hope he keeps it moving. I don't know
Who?
what happened.
Who? Who?
Jaden Daniels.
Oh, okay.
Did I say something wrong? Did I say Jalen?
I thought you said Jalen.
Oh, Jaden Daniels. I hope he keeps it going. I don't know what happened to this Cleveland defense from last year. Um, and then the team as a whole, honestly. I want to pick Cleveland just because like it could be one of those uh-oh games, and bring
Yeah,
Commanders back down to earth. But I gotta go Washington.
yeah. Yeah, I'm going with Washington on this one too. I like Jaden Daniels. I'm a fan of the guy.
Okay. The Colts versus the
And Scary
very
Terry.
unimpressive Jacksonville Jaguars.
I'm gonna go with the Colts on this one. I think Jacksonville continues their defeated streak. 0
I
and 4
really,
is
I
crazy.
really want to pick Jacksonville to get over their hiccup, but I like AR, and if it's not AR, Joe Flacco looked nice last week, so give me the Colts.
Yeah, that shit was funny. I'm like, who is that big white dude at quarterback? Like, I had no idea he was still in the league. And then like finally they zoomed in or something, and I was like, no way, that's Joe Flacco again.
For some reason, I confused him with Matt Ryan, and I'm like, isn't he already a broadcaster? Like,
Yeah.
and then I was like, oh wait, that's Matt Ryan, not Joe Flacco. So,
And then at one point, like he kind of looked like Phil Rivers to me because I know Phil Rivers played for the Colts. I was like, who is
yeah.
that dude? That's
Um,
funny though.
Buffalo versus Houston. I know we touched on this game. I have to go Buffalo, but it's going to be a shootout.
Yeah, it is. I'm going to Buffalo on this one too. I think they're coming off a bummer, but they're hot right now.
Vegas without Devontae Adams versus Broncos and Bo Nix. I'm going Bo Nix and Broncos.
So he's not playing for them anymore. Like that's
He, yeah, I think this hamstring injury, quote unquote, even if he is truly dealing with it, I think now it's like we'll find you a trade partner and we'll let
who
this injury stay there so that way you don't get any more hurt so we could actually trade you. That's the
who
feeling I'm getting from this.
who'd you go with?
I went with the Broncos.
I'm going Vegas. I
Okay.
think the Broncos do not look good. Bo Nix, I mean, I don't know. I feel like Bo Nix hasn't really gotten much like hate or anything, like which is surprising because I feel like he has underperformed.
It's because no one expects much from the Broncos.
Yeah, fair enough.
You
Yeah, and
know?
I'm taking the Raiders in this one.
Okay. Arizona versus Niners.
No.
We got
I'm gonna
Niners.
go with the Oh wait, San Francisco 49ers, of course.
This guy's a jokester. Green Bay Packers versus Los Angeles Rams.
Like I said, Jaden Reed's gonna be a problem for the Rams. I haven't heard much about Josh Jacobs this season. I think he's gonna turn up this game. I'm going with the Packers.
I want to. I hate the Rams, but lately I've been hating the Packers only because Jace has been hating on the 49ers. I want to go the Rams, but I have to go the Packers on this one. New York Giants versus Seattle Seahawks.
New York. Oh, so I almost wanted to pick the Giants in this one, but with the whole Malik Neighbors being questionable, I'm gonna rock with Seattle this week. They look good. I mean, I was with you. We were talking about it on the phone the other day or whatever, that Seahawks might be like a kind of a fraud team. They're what, 3-1 now?
Yeah, 3-1. Haven't really played.
Yeah, and some close games. But I mean, even though coming off a loss, they still look good against the Lions. They look like a good team. I'm gonna go with the Seattle Seahawks against the Giants.
I'm gonna go the Seahawks as well here. Dallas at Pittsburgh.
Cowgirls.
I got Pittsburgh.
figured.
Yeah, it's very hard for me to pick the Cowboys, but I mean, CeeDee Lamb could turn up for me. I don't care. Fantasy
Yeah.
boy. Um, the Saints versus the Chiefs. Bro, Siri was listening to us right now, and she just told me about the Cowboy Steelers game in my ear. That was so weird.
I was wanted to go to Saints on this one too, honestly. Like my whole thing was I was gonna pick Alvin Kamara as my. I had a lot of guys in mind for dog of the week, but I
Is
was
he
thinking,
questionable right now?
shit, I don't even know.
I think he might, or was that last week with the ribs? I forget.
Oh, that was last week, but
Okay.
it might have continued, honestly. But I mean, I'm gonna go with Kansas City on this one. I think they're gonna continue rolling.
Okay. I'm gonna follow your footsteps here. I'm gonna go Kansas City, and they're finding ugly ways to win, but it's a win, so
Hmm.
can't pick against them right now. We don't have to get into our tiebreaker scores because we can't give those out. Um, but yeah, guys, thank you, Josh, for joining the Can't Lose show. I know you're a little bit familiar with this podcast.
Just a
Um,
little bit. Just a little bit.
yeah, I'm sure our listeners are glad to have you back on. Like I said, open invitation. You are welcome whenever you want. This was started by me and you, so thank you again for joining. Thank you guys for listening. Before we go, thank you to our sponsors. Can't name them because we want to keep that, a little on the low key right now. But
Oh
thank you to
yeah,
our
yeah, yeah,
sponsors.
yeah. Hey, shout
Um,
out.
but love you guys. This is Can't Lose Show, and we'll see you next week. Deuces.
Deuces.